Good morning from Blackpool Pleasure Beach, where I'm here at one of my favourite theme parks in the UK to get back on some brilliant coasters from Icon and Big One, but also check out all the latest updates here from the park, including some big construction going on towards the Big Dipper, which will be opening a little bit later on this season, towards the summer season, and it'll be celebrating its 100th year birthday down here at the park. But with that said, join me here for Blackpool Pleasure Beach for yet another day as we head in to the summer season. Well, I tell you what, down here in Blackpool this morning, it was absolutely chucking it down. However, it's just gone past 11 and the sun's come out for my day down here at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. But yeah, in these vlogs, I always like to say how good the entrance plaza looks here at Pleasure Beach, especially in the sunshine. But yeah, in terms of crowd levels today, it's not looking too busy at all. We're starting to approach the summer season, so from here on now, Pleasure Beach will start to get busy, especially on the weekends. And as we head into the summer holidays for schools, it really is going to start filling up here at Pleasure Beach with school trips and also people taking their holidays down here to Blackpool. But with that said, let's head over to Icon and Big One. And also want to mention, I will be getting back on Valhalla today. However, I'm going to film a separate video slash vlog for you guys because I want to film sort of a dedicated one because it's now officially opened here at the park, and I want to do a full review and how it's riding a few months on from its technical rehearsals opening a few months ago in April. But with that said, let's head over to the Big One and Icon. In front of you there, you can see the Big Dipper, which has quite a few major updates since I last visited, but I'll go through them a little bit later on in the vlog as I head towards the Big One. Also there, Infusion, the Vekoma SLC, opened by Vernon Kay back in 2009, I think Infusion opened. Here we go then in the Icon queue. Only waited around 20 minutes. And I thought I'd come in the front row queue because it's not very often that I come on front row Icon. And yeah, the station here always looks nice. And it's always nicely air conditioned, which is nice on hot days like today. But yeah, let's get on Icon and get on front row. Here we go then, had a little bit of a delay. But yeah, all sorted out now. We're just about to head on once this train dispatches. And yeah, who remembers the days of no seatbelts on Icon? Just the lap bar. It wasn't too long ago, probably about 2 years ago, that they implemented the seatbelts on here. Yeah, it doesn't really hold up operations too much. And here comes our train. Right, let's head on. Had an awesome front row ride there on Icon, a brilliant Mack Rides coaster that opened here at Blackpool Pleasure Beach in 2018, and it still remains as one of my favourite roller coasters here in the UK. The ride experience on any row on Icon is brilliant, and front row is really special for me because you can sort of see all the track in front of you, winding all around, and it's just a really nice overall atmosphere and also experience on Icon. One thing I would say with that though, is definitely starting to develop that Mack rattle. If you've been on other Mack coasters similar to Icon, the multi-launch ones, over time they start to develop a little rattle on all the rows, to be honest, but especially front and also back row. You can feel a little bit of sort of a rattle on them. Not particularly the trains, it doesn't make it rough or anything, but it's just a rattle in front, and I'm not too sure what it is or what's caused, but it's just the age of the coaster. As it starts to age, the rattle becomes more clearer, and I can definitely tell 5 years on that the rattle is still very prominent. Well, it's become more prominent. It wasn't in 2018 or in 2019 when I rode it for the first sort of time, that rattle wasn't there, but it's really starting to develop. But it doesn't take away from the ride experience too much. It's still a very smooth ride here at Blackpool Pleasure Beach, and one of my favourites here in the UK. With that said, I'm going to head on another one of my favourites here in the UK, is of course the Big One. But it won't be the Big One for too long when Project Exodus is built over at Thorpe Park. It'd be really nice to see the mist turn back on here on Icon. They turned it off during 2020 and have never really turned it back on, so hopefully in the next few years they can get that sorted. But I know it's probably not a priority, especially with the economic crisis. Of course, Blackpool Pleasure Beach is family owned, we've got to remember that. But next up though, I'm going to head on another classic down here at Blackpool Pleasure Beach, and that is the Big One. Opened in 1994 alongside Nemesis and also Project Exodus. Not Project Exodus, what am I talking about? Alongside Shockwave at Drayton Manor. God, my coaster knowledge has really gone downhill. It's not the big three, it's not the big two, but it is the big one, and it's time to ride it next here at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. And yeah, over the close season, they do loads of retracking work on this ride. It's great to see. And even like painting these bridges up, It'd be nice to see them jet wash these Pepsi Max canisters here, starting to go a little bit green. But yeah, you can see just before that, they painted that track up, just brought heads into these cans around here, and also the first little drop of the ride just there. So it's nice to see they're preserving and looking after one of the original coasters down here at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. Maybe not the original, but the one that really made the park stand out. The tallest in the UK when it opened, one of the tallest in the world. And yeah, it's now the tallest in the UK, but that will be short-lasted, as next year Project Exodus will be open at Thorpe Park Resort. I also see Revolution there in the distance, previously known as the Iron Brew. Be taking a ride on that a little bit later on. Such an underrated coaster here at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. With that said, let's head in to the big one station. Doesn't look like we've got much of a queue here as well. Yeah, literally no queue for the big one. Scan my e-ticket. I'll talk about them a little bit later on. And yeah, head straight onto the train. So I've just had a really good ride on the classic aerodynamics coaster, the big one. Still remains as one of my favourite coasters here in the UK. In fact, it was so quiet, I thought I'd run around again and get a front row ride. And yeah, when you go on the back row, then go on the front row, you realise just how rough the back row is on that. Really, really rough. But you can definitely tell where Blackpool Pleasure Beach have started to retrack some of the sections towards the 2 hotels here at the resort, and also the final tunnel of the ride. You can definitely tell those track pieces are so much smoother, and hopefully in the next few seasons they continue on with that retracking progress, because it makes a huge difference to the ride experience. I'd really like to see them retrack some of that Helix section, because that is such a rough part of the ride. But nonetheless, it's always great to get back on the big one. I mean, this is your final ride to get your ride on it, for it to be the tallest UK coaster, because that will be beaten next year by Project Exodus, a map coaster that we built over at Thorpe Park Resort. And over the next few weeks and next few months, I'll be heading to Thorpe Park and gathering all the latest construction from Project Exodus. So stay tuned for all those channels that will be making their way onto the channel in the next few months. But with that said, always nice to get back on the big one. Operations are very, very good. Staff dispatching them as quickly as possible, and also running 2 trains. With that said, I'm going to make my way to the front of the park and probably get a ride on the Grand National. But yeah, I just want to talk about this area of Pleasure Beach, because it feels really empty at the minute. I'd really like to see them do something with this area, because right now it's not even got tables or anything on. It's literally just plain artificial grass. So definitely would like to see this in the future. I know they use it for the Halloween event, but right now in the season it's just not used for anything. Potentially you could get a nice flat ride in here of some sort, which would be cool to see. But yeah, it'd be nice to see them spruce up the back of that warehouse. That warehouse or show building is used for the Alice in Wonderland dark ride, the other side of this building. But yeah, just be nice to see this area be used for something in the future, even if they just put some picnic benches for now. But something permanent would be nice to see down here at Pleasure Beach. Next up then here at Pleasure Beach, it's time for a ride on the classic Grand National. But before that, just want to mention that Pleasure Beach do operate a staggered opening time here at the park. So some rides may open at 10, some might open at 10:30, and as you can see here, Grand National opened at 11 AM today. Walk on the Grand National, always great. Yeah, we'll be on the next train. So I've just had an awesome ride there on Grand National. What's not awesome though is Infusion, the Vekoma SLC down here at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. Won't be riding it today. However, I rode it just a few weeks ago in the other Blackpool Pleasure Beach vlog, so go and check that out if you do want to see my reaction to Infusion. One thing I will say though, top tip, bring some paracetamol because you will need it. In terms of Grand National, I was on second row on a non-wheel seat, and yeah, it was a really nice ride. Smooth in terms of Grand National smoothness. But just by here, just down by Infusion and also Big Dipper, loads of construction has been happening in terms of Big Dipper, which is celebrating its 100-year birthday. Can you believe it? One of the oldest rides here in the UK. Not the oldest, but one of the oldest roller coasters. And yeah, here it is, opened back in 1923. And yeah, it's getting loads of work done. You can see all of the scaffolding up there. And yeah, I don't think it'll be too long until that comes down, because a lot of the painting work and renovation work has actually been completed, and that's what I'll show you next. Here from the front of the Big Dipper, you can see the big ice drop on top, and yeah, that's all been taken down recently, painted all up, and then it's been placed back on top there. And instead of being painted blue and white, it's now gold, white and silver. It looks very modern and fresh up there. Yeah, I've heard a lot of things about this, saying that, oh, it's not original and everything like that. But in my opinion, it gives it a new lease of life and it looks very nice. And yeah, all of this here has all been painted white, which looks really nice. And we'll go around this corner now and take a side look at the track and the running rails that have also been painted up. Here you go then, here's a side-on look at all of the Big Dipper painting. You can see there, the rails have been painted up red, and also all of the supports, the wooden supports, painted up white. And as I walk around the park, I'm sure I'll be able to get some other shots, some better shots perhaps, of this repainting work that's been taking place to the Big Dipper. Because on Icon, when you're riding Icon on the brake run, you can get some really nice views of Big Dipper and actually see all of the paintwork that's taken place. So if you're coming here to Pleasure Beach and you want to see all the painting work, then head on Icon, and on the brake run you'll be able to get a good view of all that painting work. Yeah, the sun's sort of gone in here at Pleasure Beach, but here you can see some of the new track installations. This is one of the first pieces to be actually done, and yeah, it makes a huge difference to the overall ride experience on the big one. But next up, I'm going to head over to Steeplechase. Yeah, Steeplechase has built up quite a big queue here at Pleasure Beach, probably about 25 minutes, 20 minutes, so it's not too bad. But when big one's on a 0-minute queue, might as well come and do it. Literally, I've just seen people waiting by the air gates, so you shouldn't be waiting long at all for the big one. And also they're getting trains dispatched on here quite quickly, although it's stacking a bit here. Hey! Let's head on the big one. Here's a look at the food pricing for the all-you-can-eat buffet pizza and pasta down here in Nickelodeon land. And yeah, not too bad to the £17 at Alton Towers. It's £13.95 here at Pleasure Beach, and it's £17 at Alton Towers. So, you know, the food here at Pleasure Beach is a lot better in my opinion, and also the pricing is much lower than Alton Towers. Yeah, talking about staggered opening times here at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. Most of the rides in Nickelodeon land shut an hour before park close, so today that will be 4 o'clock. Well, it's always nice to get a ride on Nickelodeon Streak here at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. Great family coaster. Of course, didn't just open with Nickelodeon land. It's been here for Blackpool Pleasure Beach for many years. One of their sort of older coasters here. It used to be called the roller coaster, and yeah, now it's called Nickelodeon Streak. Always a great ride down here at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. And as I said earlier, it closes 1 hour earlier than park closure. Closes at 4 rather than 5. But right now I'm going to head back round to Icon, get an Icon, a big one, before the end of my day here at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. Bear in mind as well, you can also go on the Hot Ice show here at Pleasure Beach, which I believe is free of charge if you do have a ticket into the theme park. At 4 o'clock, Pleasure Beach becomes quite dead around this area because the whole of Nickelodeon land is closed. As you can see, there's no guests whatsoever. I'm not a big fan of staggered opening times, but Blackpool Pleasure Beach really doesn't seem to be busy at the minute, and hopefully crowd levels really pick up here in the summertime, because it is a great theme park. They've got a wide range of roller coasters to enjoy, the big one, Icon, and yeah, I don't know why they're going around. It looks like it's tested, no one on it. You got the classic Eddie Stobart convoys, and yeah, you can also book Enso here at Blackpool Pleasure Beach, which is the spinning seat on the back of one of the Icon trains. And here it is, Icon. Time to re-ride some rides. Half an hour before park closure. It's always a good time to just run around Icon and Big One, because usually they're quite quiet. And yeah, Icon's such a great ride. Got a little bit of a Mack rattle, but nonetheless, it's still one of the smoothest coasters here in the UK. And I think we're just about to have a dispatch there. Here we go, here they come on Icon. Not a big queue either. This bush here needs a little bit of a trim. Look at that. It's overgrown into this part here. And the Icon queue. Make it all nice and neat, not like Poulton Park's hedges. So I've just been on Big One and Revolution to finish my day off down here at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. 2 great rides here at Pleasure Beach. Revolution is so underrated here in the UK. Pulls some amazing forces and I really do love it. I had the train to myself as well. That shows just how not busy it is here at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. And it shows that towards the end of the day, the last hour or so, most of the rides are really quiet, so you can run around most of the major coasters and get on them again. But yeah, Revolution, such an underrated ride. Really, really good. Then headed to Big One and also did that. And I was actually very lucky with the Big One because I was the last train that got sent through because I had to get the other trains out, because look at these thunderstorms that are approaching Blackpool. It is raining, so I'm going to keep this quick and short. But yeah, it's been a really good day down here at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. I'm going to head down to the main front entrance and plaza to wrap up this vlog. But it's been nice. The weather's held out for us quite well down here at Pleasure Beach. It's just started raining now. However, don't really mind, because at the end of the day, in terms of ride operations today, been really, really good. The only thing I'd say is scanning your ticket at each ride is so old-fashioned. They need to get rid of that. If they're not planning to bring back free entry to Blackpool Pleasure Beach, then they need to be getting rid of those turnstiles as soon as possible, because it just delays the rides. But with that said, it's been a really good day, and we'll head over to the front plaza to wrap up this vlog. I wrap up my day here from Blackpool Pleasure Beach where I started it. I absolutely love this park. It's got so much charm and so much character. It's just such a classic amusement park. And the great thing about Blackpool Pleasure Beach is they preserve their history. They've still got classic rides such as Grand National, the Big Dipper, but they also modernised and they installed Icon in 2018, and they keep on top of it. They don't just leave it to rot. They're doing all the work that the Big Dipper deserves, ready for its 100th birthday, which will be opening sometime this summer. But with that said, really enjoyed the day here from Pleasure Beach. It started to rain, but I'm very glad that the weather held out for us today, because it was looking not too good when I looked outside the window today, and it was pouring with rain, but then the sun came out, and yeah, it stayed out for most of the day up until now. But it's the end of the day, been really good down here at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. It's got plenty of rides in, and it's not too busy yet, so I'll be interested to come back in summer and see how crowd levels pick up, because Pleasure Beach is definitely a park that gets busy during the summer season. But with that said, thank you so much for watching this video. If you haven't already, go and check out the latest Nemesis construction video here on the channel, because it's a big one and so much track has been installed over at Nemesis. But with that said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.